Welcome to the Luxury Agent Network web show and podcast, presented by LUXVT. LUXVT provides world-class marketing for elite agents and brokers. This web show and podcast is dedicated to bringing you the latest tactics, trends, and insights to help you win more listings. And now, let's welcome your host, Jeremy Collins.
Hey, amazing real estate agents. I'm so excited. This is episode 2 of the Luxury Agent Podcast. You know, our goal for this podcast is to just bring on some just rock star agents across the country to help them, let them share some tips and tricks and strategies so we can all get better, right? That's the ultimate goal of this. So today's web show, which is episode 2, I am so stoked. I fell in love with her when I first talked to her, Hyleri Katzenberg. I'm going to bring her on and let her talk about just a little quick intro, and then we'll get rolling. Hyleri, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you? Wow. Thank you for that build-up. It's great to be here.
I'll tell you what, Hyleri, when I first talked to you, you tell me a little bit actually where you started serving at. Let's let everybody know kind of the areas you serve, and then we'll dive into it.
So originally, I got my license at 18 in Ohio. My mother had a brokerage firm.
18, that's young, girl.
It is. I thought I was such a hot shot because I passed my test and got my license. But what I didn't realize at that time was that not too many people want to entrust the biggest asset they own or will acquire to an 18-year-old college student. So I guess sort of the theme of my career has been to think outside the box. I had to be creative to be able to, get people to work with me at such a young, wet behind the ear age.
I tell you what, 18, and that's one of those years. I mean, honestly, I've been looking at the trends, and it's becoming younger and younger that people get into the real estate world. I don't think it was like that, when you guys came into it. You were probably, one of the few getting into it that early. And so
that's true. I have to admit, I did it out of sheer laziness at that time because it was the summer. I was a student at UCLA in California, living in Ohio, going back and forth. And one day I was at the mall. I had a job at the mall, and I was watching the clock, and I thought literally that 3 hours had gone by, and I think it was like 20 minutes. It was beautiful outside, and nobody was in the mall on a day like that. And everyone was fighting for commission over one person that would walk in the door. And I thought, I'm going to shoot myself if this is my summer. So my original inspiration was that I saw my mother, who had a brokerage, and some of her agents, and I thought, they make their own hours. And so on nice days like today, I can just say I'm working with another client and I can go to the pool. So I, quickly realized that that's not how it worked, but it was
I love it. Fantastic. So really, you got into it out of that reason, but here's the deal. What you learned fast was you have to hustle. You have to kill the game in order to be successful in this business. And, you guys, I'm just looking at some of your stuff. First of all, where can they find you so they can give you a look down and see kind of where you do?
So our website is LuxeLatitudes.com. Cool. It's plural, LUXE Latitudes.com. And my email address is Hyleri, Hyleri at LuxeLatitudes.com.
Love it.
And we're all over social media. I'm at Hyleri on Instagram, Hyleri, and blah, blah, blah.
All I had to do is type in Hyleri and start typing KATZ. And literally I saw all your stuff. So guys, that is where you can find them at, get more information for them. They actually serve all of Connecticut, right? That's what your team does, right?
So now, we've expanded our team. I moved over from a Christie's affiliate in Connecticut to Compass in 2018, and I was only the second agent to do that before anybody even knew what Compass was. But I saw where it was going, and Robert Refton and the Compass team. God, I am really blown away and so honored to have been able to set up my team with Compass because they're, very techno savvy and they really work for their agents. And it's been, a really great synergy.
Love it. Now you said your guys are serving the Connecticut area, but you're also going somewhere else too, serving really soon, big time, right? So where are you guys going now?
Right. So we also serve Southeast Florida. My husband owned a big chain of restaurants down in Southeast Florida. He lived in Palm Beach for many years. He's got a restaurant on Las Olas called
Love
B
it.
Square. And
Cool.
we serve Southeast Florida, as well as now we're launching a huge project in Turks and Caicos, North Caicos.
Love it.
So it's
Wow.
called Sandy Point, right near Parrot Key, and we're going to be sharing some really wonderful opportunities to own or fractional ownership, and they're building 3 resorts, and it's really exciting, and we're so honored to have been selected to be the exclusive agent marketing out there.
Wow. I tell you what, you think about this for a minute. A lot of standard agents, they kind of live where they are. They stay where they are consistently. They don't want to go different places. They don't think outside the box. You guys are like taking the box and like basically just throwing it, and then you're going different directions. So I love the fact that you guys you're not just that, we could just serve this area and be happy. No, your guys are going to go all in on different areas to make sure to reach as many clients you possibly can, right? I love that.
A little story about when I was 18 and first got started, and my mentor was my mother, who was an amazing woman, and she really taught me how to, knock on, throw a lot of stuff against the wall, because some of it will stick and some of it won't. I got a harebrained idea with my mom at my side and, in front of me as my mentor, to take a property that was off a beaten track in Cleveland, Ohio, where I was licensed, and knocked on the door. It had been on the market forever. It was sort of a dilapidated property. Back then, things were a little easier, and I knocked on the door, and they thought I had a lot of chutzpah, and I asked them if they'd give me an exclusive for a few weeks, and they said no, but they were willing to give me an open listing, which not many people are probably familiar with. I went to town hall and I got 4 documents that I brought to them, which they signed, and pretty quickly we got it double zoned. So it was zoned also commercial. And with my mother's help, we sold it to Genie garage door openers. And it had been in the market for years. They kept dropping the price. We got double the asking price. And that really got me going and helped me pay, my college tuition and buy a car. And, I was able to use that to get my friends' parents to list with me. So, that was really my big first think outside the box. And it was necessity, because at 18, I had to really had to prove myself.
Wow. I tell you what a story. It really comes down to experience, right? It talks down to the experience that you guys provide as agents, right? And so I meet with agents all the time, and I hear how different experiences they create, but you guys have kind of just a unique, just by visiting your website. I mean, as soon as I pull it up, I'm like, all right, this is unique. This is something that they really think through, through every client experience.
Well,
so if you would share through some of the things you guys do on even as a daily basis, what do you guys do, to make that classic experience? Because really it is all about, I think the number now is like 70% of agents, they pick another agent, over top of what they already had, because they didn't, I guess the experience wasn't there for them. You guys take it beyond that.
Technology and social media is really, really important. And honestly, I got the Turks and Caicos, exclusive through my marketing, that somebody came to us and said, I love your marketing. We weren't even licensed there. And, I had to go home and sleep on it and think, wow, this sounds super exciting, and I'm really all in, but I just can't understand how I'm going to get from here to there when we're not licensed in Turks and Caicos. And I'd only been there once in my lifetime, but I certainly saw the opportunity there. And I went to Elizabeth Stribling-Kivlin and Rory Galad, who's the president, one of the big presidents at Compass. And I said, help me think outside the box here. How can we take on this opportunity? And they were wonderful and helped me strategize. And we're working in conjunction with a boots on the ground that we set up there, and literally have already sold several villas without even launching this yet. So I think, a lot of people go through life with tunnel vision, and they have a goal to get from point A to point B. And if you have tunnel vision, you miss so much of what's along the way. My motto in life is to have peripheral vision, because when you're going from point A to point B, some of the things along the way could change your course for the better, and you just got to be open to it.
Wow, you just said some stuff that I'm kind of want to highlight just slightly because agents sometimes get in the groove, right? They this is their system, this is what they do, but it's okay sometimes to pivot, right? It's okay. You guys pivoted, and now you're having an opportunity that's kind of unbelievable.
And you don't know. I mean, you don't know where something's going to come from. I mean, certainly we have spent a lot of money on avenues that we, ultimately figured out were not productive for us. But you have to try it in order to see. No other agent's going to come into your sphere and say, this is how you do it. There is no one roadmap. I think for every successful agent out there, they would probably say, have a different story of how they got there. I love to share my experiences. I love to mentor people. A lot of my team members that I've brought on, I've been training, and they're new agents. And, I like to show them how I've done it. But I also like to hear from them, and I'm constantly learning, about what works for them. We have a team meeting every morning, every week, Tuesday morning. And I love to, have a round robin and share what other people are doing and incorporate that. I have to say social media is something that, I grew up in a day and age where a mouse was something you put in a cage and cheese. It wasn't, it was not the internet day and age. But I learned very quickly going back into real estate in Connecticut. I was going through a divorce, and I jumped on JDate and Match.com and very quickly realized this was before Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and Facebook. And I quickly realized through that social media that everyone getting divorced was buying and selling a home. And so that was my Zillow, Trulia.
Wow.
So I would list their homes. I'd meet someone, list their homes. Ironically, I met my husband, Mark, who's also now my real estate partner. I met him through a client that I met on JDate, went out with him, became great friends, was not a love connection, but boy, was it a great business connection. And I sold his house. I sold him a house. I sold his ex-wife's house. I sold his girlfriend's house. And then he referred two clients to me who I sold, who are become my, dear friends. And they introduced me to my husband. So
wow, what a story. I tell you what, you just got a lot of husband and wives in trouble because now they're all installing dating apps on their phones.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like, oh no, it's a lead gen source. It's a lead gen source.
Right. True.
Love it. So, okay. So let's, if you would, share some of the branding pieces you guys do, because you showed me some of pre-show and I'm like, okay, this is what agents need to see. Sometimes it's okay to spend just a little bit on some brand, because I'm a huge brand believer. I believe that we push the crap out of the brand and people's going to take notice, right? Look at that. I love it. So guys, if you're not watching the web show, every single week we put our web show out so you can watch what she's doing. So if you're listening on the podcast, jump over to the Luxury Agent Network. You can watch this same web show and see visually what she's going to show you guys. All right, so Hyleri, lay out some of the products, some of the stuff you do.
Well, I mean, brand name recognition. I know Compass did that so well. And I really loved what they were doing. And Luxe Latitudes, I didn't name it the Hyleri Katzenberg team. I named it something that, really identifies what the brand is. And we sell luxury latitudes, and that works so well with the name Compass. And our tagline is, let us help you adjust your latitude. So,
all right. So let me stop right there. The tagline alone. Okay. I didn't even notice they had tagline. So I'm a big tagline guy, because it catches, right? And that's what we want. We want people to remember to catch, and that catches. So congratulations. That tagline is off the hook. Good job.
Thank you. Well, I also thought to myself that I really wanted to build a brand that one day when I'm 95 and I'm tired and I want to retire, that I can, a lot of other people that
that's going to be in 15 years.
Okay. That I can build a brand that will, supersede me. And they say a really good business leader or owner is somebody that can hire their their descendants. So I thought, if I name it Hyleri Katzenberg, people are going to be calling and saying, or reaching out and saying, if they have a problem, I want to speak to this Hyleri Katzenberg. I don't want that. I want my team members to get behind a brand that we're all creating together that will go on past me.
Let
And
me
that's why
show the hat. This is cool. So this is a part that I teach team members all the time. And what you just said is golden because, it really is about the team. And it's really about how far can you go past that, right? It's not what's happening right now. You've got that forward-thinking vision that I believe that real estate agents really need to grab a hold of, right? You're not looking 5 years down the road. You're looking 20 years down the road, which is phenomenal. Great job, by the way.
By the way, a lot further than 20 years down the road because I'm not only 20 years away from 95.
Yeah, pretty close.
All right. I love it. I love it. So show me some of the cool stuff.
This is something that we gave out in between the holidays. I've done this a couple of times. Comes in this great. We did wine bag with our branding. This is the tagline. Our tagline. Thanks for letting us help you adjust your latitude. We appreciate you and everybody. We dropped these off to all of our clients. A lot of them were. A couple times people were. We'd run into. Had a question about, should I put in a pool? Should I do this? And it was great to be able to chat with them and catch up and do something a little different. We give these. I love to see these in stores when people are, going to the grocery store, and we hand these out. And, we have so many, the pens, the sweatshirts. We spend a lot of money, but you have to spend some money. And I really do think, social media is a great way to do things free.
Absolutely.
But beyond that, I think it's really important that you spend some money on marketing, at least building your brand. And we all have our own brand, even within a brand. I mean, I'm part of Compass. I'm on a team, but we also work for ourselves. I mean, each of my team members have their own business. And within that, there's a lot of cross marketing and, ways to work together and open houses and things like that. I tell everybody on my team that, perception is reality. And, I let them use my listings to put their face on and show because, and also to leverage my experience in the business. Because newer agents, that's the hardest part, just getting started where, people know that you haven't been doing this a long time. They see that you're doing other things. It's very, very difficult to get business if you're a part-time agent. People don't want to entrust the biggest asset they own or will acquire with someone who, does this as a hobby or part-time.
Yeah, and luxury agents can pick up on that stuff real quick. Honestly, it's one of those things that they've got that sixth sense where you're like, oh, okay. They can pick up on it, and they do.
Absolutely.
Two of the big things you mentioned so far is like you got two wings really of marketing. You have the outbound marketing, which is your social media. Like literally, it's just organic traffic, right? And then you have the inbound marketing, which is these pieces like the hat and stuff like that. Those attract them to you. You don't have to do anything. Literally, they just see your logo and they're like, oh, Hyleri. That's an amazing tool. So when people are thinking, if you're listening to this podcast, agents, those are two crucial elements you should be looking at for your business is doing the outbound and inbounding. And Hyleri, you guys are rocking it with that kind of stuff. So I love it.
Well, thank you. We're always open to, and I'm excited to see some of your future guests as well.
Yeah.
We're always open to, discovering new ideas and ways to, reach we do some great client closing gifts, and, we really want them to have something that they can use and reuse. I don't like to send flowers and things that are, that expire. I like to use things that, they'll use forever and think about us each time. And I think that's really an important opportunity to connect with your client, in the future. I would do like a doormat with their name on it. So it's welcome to your home. And every time they cross that threshold, they think of you. And I've sold people a home and then cross that doormat when I go to relist their home when they sell it. And I love that.
Wow. And that's so cool. It's just the emotional feeling sometimes you get from those things too. And so, before we end this podcast, I really kind of want to ask you a question about, these newer agents, or not newer agents been in business 20 years and they still cannot get to that. They want to get that next step. Right. So what's some encouragement, even for new agents or existing agents? What are some things you guys do, or some information you could share, some golden nuggets that you could share that, help them get to that next level? Because obviously you started low and then you went high, right? You just are killing it. And so what can you guys do? What's just some top tips, guys, you can give me that will, just encourage agents?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that, it's not an easy business, and you really have to eat, breathe, and sleep it. And so I would really encourage only people to go into this business that have a passion for it. I didn't start out that way, having a passion for it, but success, I think, also breeds enthusiasm. But you have to give yourself, first of all, some lag time, because you have to build on things before it's really going to produce an income that most people are looking to attain. And I think that so many people, especially in this hugely explosive market that we've had since the pandemic, everybody's trying to get a real estate license. And the bar to entry is low. You don't have to go to law school. You don't have to go to medical school. You don't have to, pass a bar exam. The real estate exam is not easy for everybody, but it's a lower barrier to entry. But only a very small portion of realtors make a really solid, good living in this business. And I think, your sphere of influence is really, really important. The people that I think you should look around you and say, who do I know and how can I make them think of me when they're going to buy or sell their home? And just because somebody knows you doesn't mean they're going to entrust, again, the biggest asset they own or will acquire. So, you have to think, what will give them the confidence to work with me? What will, and that, each person, I think, sort of has to answer for themselves. What do I offer? What is my niche? Mine was the divorce world when I first started. I really think constantly showing that you can add value and to be able to think outside the box. I've made some crazy deals in this market, and as we've been challenged to do with low inventory, and spoke to friends of mine who I thought, do you see yourself in this house in 5 years? You may not want to move now, but if you don't see yourself there in 5 years, you may miss this hot seller's market, and interest rates are going to go up, and this is sort of the perfect time. And we've done a bunch of off-market deals with those people. And so I think it's really a matter of, and look, I'd be happy to talk to any agents out there and help them strategize. I'm not a coach, but I love to mentor and help people in their careers. And I'm, happy to answer questions. But I think it really is it's a matter of taking a look at yourself. You can't be shy. You can't be a secret agent. If people don't know what you do, then they're not going to think of you. You have to stay in touch. I'm doing Good Sphere right now, which is a great way of, setting things up automatically. And it's a 12-week course and just getting started. And I'm excited to hear and learn what they have to say. But you also have to constantly learn. I mean, the technology is constantly changing. When I first started, when I was 18, we had these huge books with the listings, and they'd constantly come out, and we were looking at maps to go from one place to another. And, things are constantly changing. And if you don't change with it and grow and constantly expose yourself to that, then you become pretty obsolete, and there's a better way of doing things. And that's why also I love Compass. It's so technology driven, but
I love it.
Big learning curve.
Man, so some of the tips, guys, just that she shared just in cap was, she is all about really thinking outside the box, be creative, be able to pivot, have a passion. And I think that one is one sometimes agents overlook, especially with so many agents in the market right now. The passion it shows. It just does. And, lastly, just be sure to use and leverage the tools and resources you currently have. You guys are leveraging social media like crazy, leveraging the web presence, leveraging YouTube. You guys are really doing a phenomenal job. And I think, look, you don't have to be everything to everybody, right? You guys found your niche, you rocked it, and then you moved to another niche, or you expanded that niche, right? And so I think that's a true element of success, is when you can really kind of master those certain things.
Well, and the last thing I just want to, leave everybody with too is that know the community that you serve. You're a portal to that community. When we had so many people flee New York City, when and the big cities to, more suburban locales because of the pandemic. In the beginning of the pandemic, I had 3 deals fall through, and I thought, oh no, what is this going to mean for real estate? And it just went from there in a way that a lot of us didn't foresee things going. But you really have to know your market, because so many people are transplants. Everybody that buys or sells a home is going through some sort of life transition, and they look to you to, where should I go eat? Who should I use for, babysitting? I've fixed clients up. I've gotten them, babysitters. I've helped them, acclimate to the community. You have to be a resource, and you have to know the community that you serve.
Wow. So that needs to be a headline for a whole other blog post or whatever we do. Be a resource before you're the realtor, because that alone could open doors, unbelievable doors.
Absolutely.
Right? So know the community, know that the mom and pop that owns, a little hot dog stand down the road. Those are the people that when you start knowing them, it just opens the door to other resources, right? It opens the door to other people, other clients.
Absolutely.
Love it. All right, Hyleri, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. But before you hop off, where can they your website again? Just tell us where they can find you, and then they might get some people to reach out for questions. But beyond that, thank you so much. Where can they find you?
My pleasure. It's Hyleri, Hyleri, at LuxeLatitudes.com, LuxeLatitudes. You can also, we have a Facebook, we're Luxe Latitudes team on Facebook, also at Hyleri, Hyleri on Instagram.
Love it. And
our website is LuxeLatitudes.com, LuxeLatitudes.com.
Love it. All right, guys, go follow her. She should get a lot more followers after this. Go and follow her and get some inspiration, get some ideas. She won't care. She just don't steal, but just get some inspiration ideas from her. She'll be appreciative.
That's why I'm sharing it.
Love it. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a blessed one.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that's going to end the podcast. Be sure to check out the Luxury Agent Network over on Facebook. It's a private group. We're building a community of people where we just share information, just like Hyleri shared. Hope you guys join in, have some fun with us, and we will see you guys next time for the next podcast.